Hello, YouTube. I want to tell you about a very interesting climatic change in the history of our planet and to underscore that we know very little, actually, about climate change on Earth. And here is very interesting confirmation. In 1977, in the Susumansky district of Magadan region, in the Russian north, in the land of concentration camps, where countless victims of the Soviet socialist regime perished, in the permafrost at the mine named after communist military commander Frunze, a fossil of little mammoth was found. This happened in the valley of the Kirgilach stream, which flows into the Berezovsky river near the Dima spring. A local bulldozer operator discovered the carcass of an ancient baby in the frozen ground. In Magadan, scientists conducted an initial study of the mammoth. Tissue samples were selected and preserved for further detailed research and study. The frozen carcass was placed in a special iron box with thick foam, and the scientist named Zaslavsky took it by airplane to Leningrad to the Zoological Museum of the USSR Academy of Sciences. The find immediately became a worldwide sensation, as a fossil animal of such size and preservation has never been found anywhere before. In addition to the fact that it was the first mammoth specimen that had reached scientists entirely, its youth allowed for the first time to judge the peculiarities of the individual development of these fossil animals in comparison with living elephants. Dima, as they named the cub mammoth, was a unique specimen of a frozen mummy whose height was 104 centimeters, weight about 90 kilograms, age about 7 to 8 months. The cub died more than 40,000 years ago. It is believed that it died in the lake, trying in vain to get out, while freezing and choking. In the stomach of the little mammoth named Dima, 13 kilograms of undigested food was found: fir cones, larch and pine branches, wild thyme, various flowers, and 2 types of moss. The cause of the mammoth's sudden death is still unknown. It froze along with the food inside it, which did not have time to digest. The cub injured its leg. Some scientists believe that the mammoth fell into a hole with mud and couldn't get out. Some scientists believe that the mammoth fell into a crack in the glacier. However, how Dima found so much greenery on the glacier remains a mystery. Currently, a specially dissected mammoth Dima is on display at the Museum of Zoological Institute in St. Petersburg. Anyone can see it. The original of the real mammoth has wrinkled skin and the wool has completely fallen off. After lying for thousands of years in permafrost, the body was preserved, and as the fur thawed, it simply fell off. And there are 2 hypotheses of the origin of the name of this mammoth. According to one hypothesis, the mammoth was given a name in honor of the worker who found the carcass. According to the second hypothesis, the mammoth was named after the name of the stream near which the body was dug up. But the little mammoth cub was not the only one to perish suddenly with food that was not digested. In Bonn, Germany, a map Glorianus was found in the library. It was drawn in 1510 with the exact contours of America from Canada to Tierra del Fuego, but Antarctica is not on it. By the way, the radiocarbon method of determining the age of minerals gave the following result. The poles were covered with ice no more than 15,000 years ago. And what happened before that? And before that, under the ice shell of Antarctica, trees used to grow. Well, the skeptic will say the fact itself is interesting, but everyone knows that cooling and warming on a global planetary scale is a regular phenomenon. Well, somehow this planetary cooling or freezing was very strange, the one that involves the mammoths. You see, Ukrainian scientist Oleksandr Kulsky, author and researcher of paranormal phenomena since late 1960s, told the following story. At the 5th Scientific and Technical Meeting on Anomalous Phenomena, it was a narrow meeting because the subject was paranormal phenomena was still a forbidden subject in the USSR. Even in 1988, it took one more year to take the shackles off. It was held in Kiev in the winter of 1988. Doctor of Biology Polishuk spoke up, sharing extremely interesting information. Several frozen mammoths were found, for example, Berezovsky or Shadrinsky, in Siberia. According to various estimates, the age of the mammoth ranges from 9,000 to 20,000 years, but the Berezovsky mammoth stands with its front legs braced, or maybe just with one raised front leg. The animal kind of froze in place. After all, before that, the animal was grazing peacefully, quietly ate grass. About 300 kilograms of undigested grass were found in its stomach. That is, it happened in the summer, but the cold snap was so sudden and so terrible that the multi-ton mammoth froze instantly. A significant number of predators and herbivores were also found, which, like the mammoth, froze into the ice almost instantly. As you know, the mammoth had a very large mouth. Since neither the carcass nor the stomach with food rotted, it meant that the frost had to be very powerful. American scientist Sanderson believed that this is possible at a temperature of minus 150 Celsius. What a very tricky cooling it turns out to be, right? The Berezovsky mammoth is unique, well-preserved specimen of an adult male woolly mammoth in permafrost, located in the exposition of the Zoological Museum of the Zoological Institute of the Russian Academy of Sciences. It is named after the Berezovka River and the bank of which it was found. The find was a frozen corpse of an adult, 40 to 50 years old, male mammoth. The mammoth was lying in an unusual position on its stomach, with its legs stretched out and silently bent. The upper part of the head and back have already thawed, so they were badly gnawed, eaten by predators. Also, most of the trunk was missing. The mammoth had a broken pelvis and shoulder during its lifetime. Obviously, the animal died almost instantly, having fallen into a deep washout or fallen off a cliff. In the mouth of the beast, the remains of unchewed grass were found. The preserved plant remains were identified as sedge, creeping thyme, pungent buttercup, gentian, and alpine poppy. Many plants had seeds, so it is believed that the mammoth died at the end of summer. Radiocarbon analysis indicates that the age of the Berezovsky mammoth is about 44,000 years. That's the time it was from, right? The exposition reproduces the picture of the excavations, so the museum exhibit was given the same pose in which the frozen body of the mammoth was located. And in the year 2013, Russian scientist Ekaterina Saprina wrote about Shadrinsky mammoth in Novosibirsk. Here's what she related. But the most interesting stories are connected with the pre-glacial period, when man did not yet exist as a separate species. At that time, Siberia had a moderately warm climate, and elephants and mammoths roamed the vast steppes. A couple of years ago, she went to Novosibirsk, Akademgorodok, or scientific city, where the scientists operate and live, for an international conference on genetics. Saprina remembers how impressed she was when, at that time, by the reports of seasoned scientists, anthropologists, and paleontologists. They talked about the diversity of the Siberian gene pools and about the genotype of the ancient Denisov men and about Genghis Khan chromosomes preserved in the Mongolian population to this day. But the backstage conversations of Siberian scientists about the power of their land and about the secrets that are still hidden under huge layers of ice seemed to Saprina especially interesting and charming at that time. Over a coffee break, one of the academicians advised them to definitely look at the real Mammoth father in the building of the Presidium of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences. So they did. It turned out that the foyer with skeletons is located in a separate entrance to the Novosibirsk Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography. The paleontological exposition is free and open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for everyone. The Shadrinsky mammoth, which is now located in the Akademgorodok, lived in the Girka River in Yakutia, from where it was brought to Novosibirsk in the early 1970s. The age of these remains is much less than the age of the mammoth, of the father mammoth, so to say, only 40,000 years. But biologically, the male turned out to be older. It is about 65 years. The height and weight of the mammoth was also inferior to the Troganterium elephant, reaching 3 meters. It weighed 5 tons. The ancient shaggy giant died in the river valley under a layer of silt. So its anatomical position and even the remains of plant food in the stomach were preserved. There are 11 similar skeletons in the world, and Shadrinsky is the largest. In popularity, this mammoth is second only to the Magadan mammoth Dima, who has been preserved almost completely in a natural touching pose with its legs stacked up. Now it is in the Zoological Museum of the Zoological Institute of the Russian Academy of Sciences in St. Petersburg. So mammoths lived in small herds near reservoirs, digging out plant food with powerful tusks. Paleolithic man was engaged in hunting mammoths, driving large animals into deep natural pits and cliffs. Nevertheless, the popular hypothesis about the complete extermination of the mammoths by man has no proper grounds. Large shaggy elephants became extinct due to sharp change in climate. With the end of glaciation, it became difficult for animals to get food from under snow, rubble, and ice crusts. Radiocarbon analysis of mammoth bones shows that the last generations grazed in Siberia 3,800 years ago, which corresponds to the time of the birth of the great civilizations. How interesting. So there was a sudden or instantaneous freezing or similar event. This freezing, just as ancient climate warming, was not related to human activities, but this is not really what I wanted to demonstrate. What I am curious about is this: can such sudden freezing occur again? Is there a research to prepare for such a possibility to build up defenses? I doubt it. From what I see, from the scant information I have and presented to you, something happened 20,000 years ago, and something happened about, 40 to 44,000 years ago. So maybe once every 20,000 years, we're subjected to instantaneous freezing. I'm sure there's more to that, and I'll try to dig up more information, as they say. So if you like my research and you can help me, you can do so through Patreon or through PayPal. You will see the links in description to this video, and I will bring you more interesting stories about the Russian North, about the Arctic areas in particular, and of course about Eurasia. So please stay tuned. Please tell others about my channel, and thank you for your attention to my work.